it's Jenny from the Missouri Star. So today is a rainy day and it's cloudy, and all of a sudden I started thinking about how the spring showers bring Mayflowers, and I realized I wanted something springy in my life, so I started thinking about what charm packs we have. And we have this great charm pack from Nancy Halverson, and it's called Garden Song. And I thought there's got to be some springtime in there somewhere, and so I thought about the flowers and how much I love them. So I put together a pattern, a quick tutorial for you on how to make this flower blossom block. It's so cute, so quick and easy, fun tutorial. We've used 5 charm packs for this. That does the border and everything. So what we're going to do is show you how to make this block, and you can enjoy this fabulous fabric from Nancy Halverson. So let's get right to that block. All right, so what we're going to do, here's the charm packs. Here's the charm packs right here. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you using one charm pack. And what I did was it takes, for each one of these flowers, it takes 4 charms. So you're going to want to pick out and separate your colors and make sure that you have at least 4 of each charm so that you can make your block. Now the other ones, the beige ones, I separated into a pile, and so that I could cut them for the corners. See, what I've done is I put little 1.5-inch squares on 3 of the corners. We've snowballed those corners. So 1.5-inch squares on 3 of the corners of each square. And then sew it together in a 4 patch, and it makes a darling little flower. So again, we're going to separate our fabric, and we're going to leave our beiges because it's the beiges that are going to make the little corners and make the petal have a curve. So let's go ahead and find 4 of one color so that we can put our fun block together, and I can show you how to do that. We just got to fiddle through these a minute until we find 4. All right. First one to win is these 4 reds right here. So we're going to take these reds, and what we're going to do is we're going to put, well, they're reds and pinks. We only need 4. And we're going to put little 1.5-inch squares on each corner. So what I did was I took all my light charms out of here. Now you'll need a little bit more yardage because there's not quite enough to make all the corners. But I took my little beige and white, the plain charms, out of the charm pack, and I cut them into 1.5-inch squares. So I lay my ruler on there, and I did these little charms into 4 strips, actually 3 strips that are 1.5. There we go. One more. And then what I did, this is just going to be waste, your little extra piece, and then I kind of laid them on top of each other like this. And I'm going to cut off the tiny little piece of the pinking at the beginning. And then I'm just going to cut some 1.5-inch squares out of here. Let's see, there we go, 1.5. And then I'll get another bunch. This is such a fun, quick quilt. Literally, it came together in an afternoon. Okay, so now we're going to go over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to take these squares, and I'm going to put them on 3 of the corners, just like this. 1, 2, 3, on each charm. So let's go ahead and put that together. Now what I'm going to do, you can draw a line on these or you can iron them. I'm just going to eyeball it. And this is the same as snowballing a block. Snowballing a block is when you put a block on each corner and you sew straight across, cut it off, and it gives it a rounded look. I'm going to do that on just 3 of the corners. And I'm just going to eyeball it. It's such a short distance, and I've been doing it long enough that I can do this. If you don't feel comfortable, draw your line right down the middle of your block and sew on that line. So I sewed that one. I'm just going to lift my presser foot and turn my block a little bit, and then I'm going to lay the next block on there and sew it straight across on the diagonal, and lift my foot and turn it again, and put one more block on this corner. And you're going to want to do that with all your blocks before you sew your flower together. So So let's go ahead and finish those blocks, and then we'll get back to the sewing machine. Okay, so we're all finished sewing our corners on, and now we're just going to trim those corners. And what I like to do is just cut about 1/4 inch with my scissor along the edge of that. And I'm going to do it on all 3 corners. And lay it over here on the ironing board because that's the next step. So I'm going to go ahead and trim about 1/4 inch around all these 3. There we go. Alright, now what we're going to do is going to come over here to the ironing board, and I'm going to iron those back. You want to set them and then just press them back. This time your seam comes up to the, you're actually pressing to the light side right now. But you want to make sure that you get these, all the way back to the corner. Your block, you want it to remain fairly square. So we set and we press. Alright, I got a little string I got to clip right here. There we go. And then I'm just going to roll that back and roll this back. Roll that back. Okay, now we're actually going to make our flower. So let's move our little pieces. And what we're going to do for this is I have 2 squares that are darker and 2 squares that are lighter. So it's just like a 4-patch. You want to vary your colors. You want to match your lights to your lights and your fabrics to your fabrics, and the same with this one. So all of these outside will look like petals and they'll come together. So the first thing I'm going to do, I always like to start, whenever I have a seam like this to sew together, I like to start on the straight edge. So I'm going to take these 2 like this, put them right sides together, match them up. You can put a little pin in there if you want to make sure that it goes together. And then I'm going to come over here to the sewing machine, and I'm just going to stitch these down, again using my 1/4 inch. And make sure that lays okay. Now before I take that out, I'm going to grab my other 2, line them up again. So we're sewing from the part that has no corner on it, straight down. Making sure that these 2 end pieces line up because we want our petal to look unified. And then we've got these 2 pieces. We're going to go over to the ironing board. We're going to press these, open them up, press and open. I'm going to clip these apart because we like that chain sewing. It's so fast and quick. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to match my 2 center seams right there, and that will make our block. So this one you really might want to pin. See how this is the nesting right here. I have 1 seam going one direction, 1 seam going the other, and it's going to show how those just lay right together. This one evens up pretty quickly. You can nest that back if you want to. I just kind of keep mine going one direction, and the same on this end. So I'm going to slide it under my presser foot here, start my 1/4 inch, and then I'm going to stop and I'm going to check to make sure the middle is still lined up so you get a nice center in your block. Put my finger on there, let it slide through. And there's our flower block. Let me press it for you so you can see the finished block. Now this is a smaller charm pack, so it is, it's only got, I think, 36 squares in it. So that's why I chose to use 5, because I thought this would make a darling children's bed, or, a spring quilt for your bed. And so I put all the blocks together, and what I did was I used a 2.5 inch strip. You can use a jelly roll strip, or you can cut, from yardage, you can cut your strip, and I just put a sashing in between each block as I put it together in the long rows, and then I put a sashing on the top and the bottom, and it was just kind of a little plain to me, so I thought I should do this border. Now the border is done exactly the same way, except I'm using half blocks. So what I did was I took my charm again, And I went ahead, actually I think I have one done here somewhere. Oh, right here. So I went ahead and I cut my charm in half. And then here, let me take one of these apart so you can see this. I just put a small 1.5-inch square on each corner. Oh, I heard a funny joke the other day. A lady wrote in and said she loved frog sewing. I said, what is frog sewing? And she said, that's when you rip it. And I just thought that was hilarious. So we all are familiar with frog sewing. Anyway, here we go. So this is, oh, one more stitch. One more stitch. So this is the half charm, and you go ahead and snowball both corners, and I just put them together end to end to end and laid them around this quilt here to make this border. And I'm going to hold this up over here so you can see how nice and big this is with the border and the blocks. If that doesn't scream springtime, I don't know what is. This is just a gorgeous quilt. We love Nancy Halverson fabric, and we love this Garden Song Charm Pack. So we hope you enjoyed this spring tutorial from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.